Hi, and thanks so much for joining me. Today we are talking about this beautiful Tom Ford palette. If you'd like to see that, please keep watching. I finally got a hold of one of these. It is the Shade and Illuminate Face and Eye palette. And I looked at all of the colors, and this is the one that really stood out to me. I'll let you know kind of the details around why I chose this one after we try it on, but it is the one in Red Harness. This is one of those products that's a little bit difficult to get a hold of because it doesn't stay in stock for very long. But I will do my best to give you some options down below. But let's go ahead to try on. Okay, I just actually removed what I had already done because I realized the sound was not on, the mic was not on. So I've turned it on, I removed some of it, but I thought I'd show you kind of what I have here. I cleaned off most of it, but I do go in with an eyeliner first. So just tight lining with Obsidian here. I know these are not Tom Ford, but I just want to show you I'm carving out the eye shape first. It just makes eyeshadow so much easier for me. This is Rich Hazel. I'm just carving out the exterior corner here. So just kind of like making a wing, but very, just kind of estimating it right now because it doesn't have to be perfect. But I just want to get that shape carved in there real quick. And then I can always clean it up with something like concealer after. But it makes eyeshadow more fun for me because otherwise I'm trying to create a shape with a shadow, and sometimes the pigment is not like deep enough or intense enough right here on the corner to do it. So I just go in here and do that first. You'll still be able to see the color though on the lids, but this just helps me out quite a bit. And like I said, I will clean up the corners a little bit when I'm done. But really that's kind of how I do things these days. This is not perfect by any means at this point. This just takes a lot of work out of the struggle I tend to have with eyeshadow. So we're gonna go in here, we'll go in with this color, the coppery color. I'm just gonna put that all over my lid, and you'll see that the imperfections where I didn't really spend time here are kind of covered up, but it intensifies this color itself. So that helps because I didn't have to do anything over here now. I found that makes my eyeshadow less frustrating for me. Okay, so that is that beautiful coppery color. I'm going to go in now with a Sonia G brush. This is just for the inner corner here, and I took this lightest shade right here. Next, I'm taking this brush. It is the 9.1. I'm going to take this purpley shade here. I'm running that under my eyes about halfway and then up like this. Just a really soft look. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but you tend to like more wearable looks. I mean, that's really what I wear anyway myself. It's just fun to experiment and see how intense it can get sometimes. But I mean, this is probably as much as I would normally wear. So that's really it for the eyes. I'm going to line though and put mascara on. Then we're going to go in with a bronzer here. And this is one of the cooler bronzers. So some of the bronzers I've been using have been kind of, actually I do have kind of warm or like almost a reddish undertone. So this one doesn't have that. This one has a nice cool undertone, almost as cool probably as I want to go. Though that's interesting because it's not coming across like that in the viewfinder. It's coming across as having a little bit of red, but it really doesn't, so I don't know why it's doing that, but I'll see if I can adjust the color once I go to edit. Yeah, sometimes this camera picks up a lot of red when it's not really there. Okay, so there's half. And I'm just gonna run this here like this, really quick. So half bronzer, and this is just my, that's the way my face is shaped, so that's not because that's uneven, it just sticks out a little bit there. And then without. This is a really easy bronzer to use. It slowly builds Doesn't put on too much at a time, but you can definitely build this one up. Trying to get into that hairline. I do have that spray color on, so I also don't want to transfer that too much. The spray color for my roots. My roots are a little bit out of control right now. So I think it's a really natural bronzer on me. Next, we're going to go in with this highlighter. I think this is really pretty. This is actually probably my favorite thing in here. Because the shimmer is so fine, it almost looks like it would be a liquid kind of highlighter. It's really pretty. It's very much a glow. Nothing sparkly here. So you can see it with versus without. Yeah, that one's really pretty. I'm going to go ahead, and that's really it. I'm gonna go ahead though and finish my eyes and then maybe curl my hair, and I'll be right back. I just went in with a couple of eyeliners by Chanel and added mascara, and of course curled my hair. And then I powdered just a little bit in the center. It's so hot in here, but I went in with Cassis right above. So I took, actually, let me go back. I took a liquid liner and just really, really closely went along the lash line. You can see the definition, especially right here towards the center. And then I took Cassis. It's a beautiful like plummy color, more matte though, and I ran that across the top, on top of that eyeliner just to soften it. And then I went in with another purpley kind of eyeliner. This one's in Purple Chalk though, in the waterline. It has a bit of shimmer in it, so I thought it really played well with the other shade that I put down underneath. And then I went in with my Chantecaille mascara, and I think that's it, yeah. And then I just curled my hair. I do have a couple of Tom Ford lip products on. I will list those below. I also have Tom Ford foundation on, the stick foundation. Actually, that's on top of some other things though, and I did prime with that Sisley powder today. So I have different layers of makeup on. Tinted moisturizer, Chantecaille, with some concealer, and then I set it with the Sisley blur powder, and then I went on top with foundation, again concealer, just to kind of perfect everything, and then the Chantecaille powder. So I have lots of, again, very fine layers on, so I feel like if you do lots of different products, as long as they are in very fine layers, you are good to go. I also did use the elixir though, the Chantecaille elixir in the mixture with the tinted moisturizer, so that's probably where some of the luminosity is coming from as well. Like I said, I picked Red Harness, and when they were finally all available, I looked at all of them. Yeah, let me look at them now. So the reason I did pick this one is because all of the shades looked like something I would actually wear. I usually will gravitate towards that bronzer color first though, because I feel like if that's off, then that's a whole section that you are not going to use. As for the highlighter, that is not as important to me because I don't wear highlighter every day, but I do wear bronzer almost every day. That was an important one. And then I looked at the eye colors, and I love that coppery shade in there. And then I knew I would wear that plummy color, and I haven't used that rose color yet. We'll get into that at some other point with another look, but I just wanted to kind of keep it simple today. And actually the highlighter looked like it would work really well for me. Then looking at Rose Cashmere, I just wasn't sure. I don't know, that one did not capture my attention as much, although the bronzer does look okay. The Moonlit Violet looks really beautiful, but again, that bronzer looks really, really cool toned. So if you like cool toned, and I'm just judging from the pictures, I have not seen these in person. That's kind of how I'm making all of my choices these days, is online. And I was really intrigued by Moss Agate. I feel like that one looks really beautiful. Again, though, that bronzer looks so cool toned. So I think the only other one I would consider is Rose Cashmere, but then I was a little bit like iffy about the highlighter on that one. Now, one of the reasons I really liked this palette is because sometimes with a face palette or something that's more than just eyes or more than just bronzer and highlighter, when they're combined like this, sometimes I feel like there is a compromise in that not every product in there is good. Some of them are good and some of them are like not as good as a regular line. In this palette though, my experience, I've used this a few times, is that they are all high quality. I don't feel like there was anything that was compromised in here. In fact, I feel like sometimes the highlighter is where they really have an issue in terms of when they end up in a palette. That's where I really see more grittiness. But this highlighter is beautiful. So I feel like every product in here is very, very well done. So I like the one that I picked. I don't feel like I have a need to pick up the other ones. I think they look beautiful. So unless you're a collector, of course you'll probably want them all, but in terms of what I would actually use, I think I picked the right one. There isn't one that I'm looking at like I should have picked that other one. I feel like the one that I chose is perfect for my skin tone and perfect for my needs. I loved the colors in there and they performed beautifully. So if you're my coloring and trying to decide on one, I think this one is a really good choice. So my final thoughts on this palette, I like an all-in-one palette like this. There was no blush though. I don't know if I really realized that as I got this. I was looking like, oh, I can do a whole face, but there's no blush. So I did use my Chantecaille blush. So that would have been nice, although I wonder, no, I don't think so. Like that could pass as a blush color, but that's way too shimmery. Yeah, I don't think I would use that as a blush. It's a beautiful color though. If that was a matte color, I might go in and use that as a blush, but it's such a small little pan here. And that's it for today's video, so please take care of each other, stay well, and if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks!